If you're looking at a mid-power eMTB, you might want to check out the deep dive review we've got on our website right now of this second generation Specialized Levo SL. Got all the details on the bike there, including ride impressions and some buying advice for you. Let me just say right now, it's an absolute banger of a bike. Also, a quick shout out to the good people at evoc and GoPro for helping us make this video. So today I've added a 160 watt hour range extender battery to the bike. I'm setting the support levels on the bike to 50% of maximum, and I'm going to ride my favorite lines here into Tokai eMTB until the bike dies. The idea is to get some real world numbers that will hopefully be useful to endurance riders as well as shredders on the range capabilities of a mid-power e-bike. At the end of the video, I'll also give you the 5 things about this Specialized Levo SL that I really like. Okay, so let's do a rundown BH3. Sure, maybe like 25 years ago, this was the national championship downhill race. And right here, this is the actual first bit of single track that we ever built here in Tokai. Obviously, it's changed quite a bit since those early days. But this is the line. Lots of fun little features, little squashes, some pops, and if you like this kind of stuff, then you want to try it when the northwest is blowing, because you get a tailwind. No wind, it's about a 50k an hour max speed, and then with a tailwind, yeah, you can get up to like 60k an hour in some sections. Amazing how it's so dry now. Just 4 weeks ago it was so wet. And this is the quarry. There's like a little step down here and a little hip jump. Lots of fun, that line. So I need to get a move on here. So quick range update. I'm 20 k's in. I've been riding for an hour 20. I'm not 100% sure on elevation gain right now because I need to open an app for that, and I'm running out of daylight. I have 95% of battery remaining. I'm gonna have to hoof it. This thing has far more range. Already I can see it's got far more range than I anticipated. Okay, so this is the bridle path or switchbacks. It's actually one of the first pieces of trail here in Tokai, even before mountain biking. Pretty overgrown right now, so I'm not going to be pinning it because you just can't see. There's plenty snipers behind the grass. We've had a wild 6 months of rain here, so the trails here, some of them are still overgrown, but the trail builders are on their way and ready to fix them. So here's the first switchback. Now the key with switchbacks, there's a couple things you want to remember for switchbacks. Like, let's call it the fundamentals, the absolute keys. Brake early, set up wide, sight the exit, and then you've got to look through the turn and release the brakes. There's a point that you have to commit to. So here we go, I'm braking early. You can see I'm turning wide. Look through the turn and release the brakes. Absolutely, technique in mountain biking is absolutely everything. And most switchbacks, you've just got to do the same thing. You've got to brake early, set up wide, look through the turn and release the brakes. You try not to lock the wheels at all. You're more efficient if you keep the wheels rolling. You've actually got better grip if you keep the wheels rolling. So brake early, set up wide, a little too wide, but you get the point. Set up real wide, look through the turn and then release the brakes at the same time. Vision's everything when you ride. You absolutely have to be super sure on where you're looking. And you have to be looking in the right place. Most people I coach are having issues on the trail because they're not looking in the right spot. So vision's absolutely key. You've got to kind of scan the terrain, scan forward, and mark the single track where you want to go. So you look forward and come back, look forward and come back. And then your peripheral vision around the sides, you look for snipers and things you don't want to hit, but you don't look at them. You keep focused on where you want to go. So it's 32 degrees out. I found a little shady spot here. What I'm going to do is just run through the 5 things about this bike that I really like. Okay, so the first thing, there's 3-way built-in adjustability. So there's a offset headset cups, there's a chainstay flip chip, and there's a link in the shock extension, which means there's no geometry compromises whether you're running this bike as a 29er or you're running it as a mullet setup. Also, within those 2 wheel size configurations, you can also fine-tune the geometry to suit the trails you're riding. So if you're riding flatter stuff like the Sprate in Joburg, or just flatter trails, you can steepen up that hand angle. If you're riding techie trails, you can lift the BB, and there's absolutely no geometry compromises. It's a highly versatile bike. Second thing I really like is the motor is a lot quieter than the first generation, and there's slightly more power. The third thing I really like is there's a lot of dropper post insertion. So what that means is through all the frame sizes, you can run a really long dropper post, which means you can slam that saddle really low down and out of the way, which is far better, far safer for a more dynamic riding style. You can move your hips around a lot more when there's a lot of when the saddle's low down. So I really like that. Fourth thing, the Specialized app's probably the easiest app I've ever used. I mean, there's a ton of features on there. I won't even use half of the features on there, but it is nice to have, and a lot of riders love all those features on the app and do deep dive into all the kinds of numbers. Fifth thing, a new Levo SL is not only super quiet when you're climbing, but it's super quiet on the descent. So you don't get a lot of chain slap. There's no rattles in the bike. It's super, super quiet. So all you hear is the trail itself and the wind. And it's a really classy thing for me when a bike is really quiet and you can just hear the shredding and the trail. So those are the 5 things I really like about this new Levo SL. Okay, so definitely cutting it fine on light. But let's see how we go. This is the last 2 sections of snake trails. This one's a lot of fun. It's called Snake Eyes. Nice poppy little features. Nice big turn over here. This trail's also been running for years. Little rock garden here. And I don't know what this last section is called. I don't ride it a hell of a lot, but I know they've worked on it recently. It gets quite spicy down at the bottom. Speed picks up here, and it's got some nice features to play on. Okay, range update. 28 Ks done. I've been riding for 2 hours, 2 hours moving time. And I'm exactly halfway, well, 72% battery remaining. So just how the percentages in the batteries work. The app gives you 100% battery remaining when you're using just the integrated battery. That's the 320 watt hour battery that's inside the frame. When you add the range extender battery, which is that water bottle guy down there in the water bottle cage, it's an extra 160 watt hours. So the app says 150%. So I started on 150%, 2 hours in, getting close to 30 Ks, and I've just gone on to 72% battery remaining. Not sure on elevation yet because it's another app I have to open, but I'm absolutely hammered. So important when we look at all the range numbers that this ride yields is that we consider the kind of terrain I'm riding on. I mean, you can hear I'm out of breath. I'm not an unfit rider. I'm not in world-class shape, but I'm not unfit. But you can hear I'm working hard in the climbs. I don't know if you can hear the motor, but I can barely hear it. But the terrain is rough. So, you use more battery power when the terrain's rough. And this is the phosphate trail. Also been here for a hell of a long time. Okay, Bepek actually came down here. a few years ago. A great flow trail, this phosphate trail. Anyone looking to work their skills should just come and run laps of this trail and try and get the flow on it. Learn to pump and learn to eke out the maximum amount of traction, because there's notoriously dry, loose over hard pack and super sketchy. How's those views? You can hear the tires just cutting in or trying to cut in. It's super hard pack. So I think I spoke about it, how quiet this bike is, and I'll shut up now so you can listen into the sounds of the motor and the chain, or the lack thereof. There's very little sound coming out of the bike. So as you can see, 7 o'clock at night now. I've got 34% battery left. It's too dark to shred properly. I think the trail's actually closed, so I hope the gate isn't locked. But did I say I'm going to ride the bike until the battery dies? It's such great clickbait that, well, what happened is I couldn't. The bike beat me and I'm dying. So I'm going to call it a day, and I'll wake up tomorrow and drain the last 34% and then add up all the numbers, and we'll see where we are. Hope you enjoyed that. That's my best of Tokai. Absolutely love those trails almost any day of the week. And then this is the last exit trail. Ha, blue sky, that's what we want. Morning, day 2, super early. I'm going to deplete this battery on the trails of Cape Town. So that means mostly smooth climbing, tar climbs, and then a lot of rough and very rough trails. So let's see how much more range I got in this thing. It finally died. My gosh, that actually took way longer than I thought. So let's look at the results. I'm 71 kilos. I ran the bike on 50% of support. I used the 320 watt hour internal battery with the 160 watt hour range extender, and I drained them both at the same time. Total distance, 69 kilometers. Total elevation, 2,127 meters. Ride time, 4 hours 40. Super impressive. I honestly never thought it was going to take that long. Couple takeouts. So I worked way harder than I thought I was going to work. Would have been more interesting if I had some data, like if I ran a Polo or Garmin and had some heart rate data just to factor in there. It feels like I was doing like hard tempo ride, like a solid hard tempo ride, either on a road bike or XC bike or something like that. I really worked way harder than I thought I was going to. Okay. Another little thing, the last 3% of battery takes forever to roll through. I think there's obviously limp modes there, but the last 3% was literally killing me. Thank you, Specialized. It's actually a good thing because you'll be able to get home when your battery's really low. So just about the bike itself, obviously there's more ride time now on the bike, and other than the test that's on the website, I actually think this is quite a versatile bike. It's probably, in fact, I'm going to say this is probably the most versatile bike that I've ever ridden. And what I mean by that is, yes, it's not an XC race bike. Yes, it's not a full power e-bike. Yes, it's not a downhill bike. You can't slot it into a category, I think. when I look at this bike and what I've felt with this bike is that if you are not one of those racers or not only playing in one of those genres, then this is actually probably your quiver killer. This is probably that one bike you could have in your garage that you can tick everything on. It climbs like an absolute weapon, and you work really hard, and it absolutely shreds trails, even the jankiest trails in and around Cape Town and Tokai. It absolutely hooks it down the trails. The tires, the grid trail tires, are super robust. There's actually been nothing wrong, nothing quirky with the bike at all. I did dent the rear alley wheel, sorry, Specialized. So that's kind of like the only thing. I think my PSI was a bit low on that day as well. So in all the right time, there's absolutely been nothing wrong with this bike. I think the big thing is just how versatile it is. You can really have this as your only bike and use it to ride with your XC mates, to ride with your trail mates, to get a massive workout like I've done, or to enjoy the assist and just fly up the climb. So it's actually really a cool bike. Right, that's a wrap. What I want to say is please feel free to send me any questions on this bike. If you like these kinds of tests, then let me know. I can do more of them. You can send me questions on any of the other bikes I've reviewed. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share the video if you think it's of any use to your mates looking at mid-power e-bikes. Peace.